What's up, everybody? You're very welcome along to this evening's not so much late night agenda. We really do need to come up with a better name title. Or name title? What's a name title? What? Rewind, cut it, we'll do it again. What's up, everybody? You're very welcome along to this evening's LFC news show, or the late night agenda, or something else. I mean, you can pick whatever you like, whatever works for you. Lovely to have you all in. Great to have you here. We have a watch along coming up as well, just after this show, straight over on Twitch for the Egypt-Cameroon game in the semi-final of the AFCON. See who takes on Sadio Mane, Senegal. In the final, ladies and gentlemen, it is always a pleasure to be here with you. While I wait for the chat to fill up, why don't I get the obligatory ad read out of the way? As always, we are brought to you tonight with thanks to many people, but this evening it is, of course, our friends over at Spitch. If you don't know what Spitch is, give me 30 seconds of your time and I'll let you know. Spitch is a fantasy football manager game that allows you to pit your managerial knowledge and football in-depth knowledge with other managers from around the world. Spitch offers games from multiple leagues, the Premier League, the Bundesliga, the Champions League, and many, many others. You can create a brand new lineup every single week, which means unlike normal FPL games, you don't need to be there every single week. You know, we all obsess about our FPL teams. The good thing about Spitch is you can pick it up any individual week and come back to it and still be in with a great chance to win your share of that fantastic prize pool, which can be as much as £70,000 every week. There are paid pitches, there are free pitches. It's up to you which ones you'd like to use. The only caveats I have for you, my friends, is that you do have to be a UK resident, age 18 plus, and please do have your ID ready for verification when you're signing up. Makes the process a lot easier. Thank you to Spitz, thank you to you guys, and look, let's get cracking on with the news show. How are you, Callum? Nice to see you win. Rachel, everybody else in the chat. Love your Twitch stream. So relaxed and chill. Thank you, mate. Appreciate that. Looking forward to the Egypt game in a while, I have to say. Loving the content recently, Craig. Hope you're making making this fan base a better place. Much love. Much love right back at you, my friend. Look, I've a load of stuff to go through today. Genuinely, myself and Connor have been busy in the I don't know how this. I was going to say the recruitment of news, but that's not even a phrase. I really have just started off this stream a little bit shaky. I think it's fair to say. I guess this is what happens when I don't have enough sleep. We did record a podcast today with a secondary school from Cork, which was lovely as well. Always a pleasure to be invited on these type of things. Kevin said, when's FIFA back? Maybe tonight, mate. Maybe. I'll see how the AFCON game goes, maybe. Love having you on the podcast today. Thanks, Craig, said young lad. Mate, it was our pleasure. Honestly, it was our pleasure. Always happy to do stuff like that. And I'm glad that there was some shenanigans going on in the background as well, because it's always good when you're being distracted by people. It happens to me all the time. And, I appreciate that there were people trying to distract you. So thank you for having us on, mate. Really appreciate it. Look, loads to get through tonight. I mean, what to start with? Bit of positivity. We do love a bit of positivity. I know I certainly do as well. Right, let's have a look. Right, so first and foremost, first thing I have for you today is that Liverpool's rescheduled Premier League game against Leeds United will now take place on Wednesday, 23rd of February. That was the only game that we had, of course, cancelled in the Premier League because of COVID. So yeah, that's going to be rescheduled Wednesday, 23rd of February. Liverpool, a 7:45 kickoff, Liverpool against Leeds. So we look forward to that one and hopefully to 3 points. Loads of stuff as well to go through. All right, so this came out from ESPN today. Again, I want to get your thoughts on it because on the face of it, it makes sense, but I'm going to caveat why I don't think it'll happen. So this news story comes from ESPN and they say Liverpool are monitoring Saka from Arsenal. The Reds could make a move if Arsenal fail to qualify for the Champions League. See, we've already looked at Saka, and that was before he signed the thing at Arsenal, and he's now an Arsenal player. Now, I read last night on one of the, what are they like, gossip columns, but I think, you know when you, I can't say it. There's rumour that Arsenal are going to spend a shitload of money in the summer. There's talk of a lot of money being available to Mikel Arteta, and if that is the case, I don't know why they'd be looking to sell Saka on. Such a young talent, looks absolutely quality. And look, would we have him at Liverpool? Yeah, I would, definitely. But ultimately, I don't think Arsenal will sell him to Liverpool. And they're in a rebuilding phase. And I think it's a bit too early in Saka's career to be kind of getting on the bandwagon of, well, he needs to move on to better his career and this type of stuff. I'm all for that, but I don't think he's there just yet. Martinelli now. See, there's one in the chat from Captain Sal. Martinelli is definitely one that we know Klopp likes, but look, I'm sure he likes Saka as well. I just don't think it's realistic, if I'm being honest with you. Whereas Martinelli, perhaps. I mean, I'll move on to why I'm bringing all this together, by the way, because I'm not just throwing out the names of attacking players willy-nilly. There has been some reports today around the Sadio Mane situation, so I'm moving on towards that, basically, is what I'm doing here. Yeah, so look, let me just tie all this together and stop the waffling, really. Right, so this came from Fabrizio Romano. I'm not sure Connor just sent me this image. I'm not sure if it was on his own channel or if he was on a podcast or whatever, but this is what Fabrizio Romano said around the Mohamed Salah and the Sadio Mane situation. They're working for Mohamed Salah as a priority, but from what I'm told, for Mane, there's not even a conversation yet, and he's out of contract, as we know, in 2023. So Fabrizio said he's not saying that Mane is leaving Liverpool, but they're not talking over a new contract at the moment, so there is a serious danger. Now, that...
I didn't get that.
Okay,
Could
Siri.
you try again?
All right, Siri, no one's talking to you, love. Relax. Jesus, getting ahead of yourself there. No one's talking to you, love. Know your place, Siri. Know your place. Anyway, apology for that rude interruption there from the freakish technology. Anyway, I don't think that this is a surprise to any of us, really. I know that it's such a difficult situation because none of us want Sadio Mane to leave. None of us do. None of us don't think he's good. We all love him. But I've told you guys for months there's going to be some really difficult conversations to be had. And Sadio Mane is one of those conversations. I'm still thrown off by that whole... I don't even want to say his name now in case it pops back up again. But that is... Quiet. I should really turn it off, shouldn't I? I don't know what's best with the Sadio situation. Honestly, I don't know what's best with it. Because there's valid points on all sides of this debate. And I really want to know what you guys think about it. Because we could give Sadio Mane a contract renewal. And he could play till he's 33, 34. I don't doubt that one bit. But we also need to be aware of a situation. It's all very well and good, us Liverpool fans saying, you know, just let him run down his contract or let him leave in a free or give him a new deal. Right now, honestly, the ball's in Sadio's court because the end of this season, he's got 1 year to go. And it's very, very difficult to convince somebody, I would imagine, that one, we really want you here if we're delaying the contract talks. And two, to sign on when he knows he could probably get a money-spinning move at the end of his contract. If I'm Sadio Mane right now, I have to say, and I've said this before, I really, really would be pissed off. I'd be really pissed off right now if I was Sadio Mane. Because the want is there to tie down Mohamed Salah, clearly. Luis Diaz has just been brought in Sadio's position. Now, of course, we could alter formations a bit, maybe to a 4-2-3-1 if we want to be really attacking, and we could see Mohamed Salah to the centre, Sadio back on the right, but I doubt that's going to happen. And the big fear for all of us, of course, is we've just got to a point where we strengthened our attack and we've got 5 great attackers in there, 5 really great attackers, and we're worried that if one of them leaves, will they be replaced? I think yes, if I'm being really honest. I think they do get replaced. And I also think, like I've thought for a while, it's most likely Mane is going to be the one that moves on. And where I am with Sadio Mane, and this is not a very good business perspective whatsoever, but I would let him run down his contract. I would keep Sadio Mane for another 18 months. Give Luis Diaz time to settle in and give Liverpool a time to see, one, how Kay Gordon progresses through, how Musialowski progresses, and how the market is for another player. So I don't see any harm in keeping Sadio. But there is the little matter of money. And if we are to bring in another attacking player, well, we got to fund it somehow. And we don't want Mohamed Salah to be sold. We're all in agreement on that one, my friends. So what do you do? These are the tough questions. They really are tough questions. Liverpool is blue. I don't know what Liverpool has to be sad about, mate, other than the fact that Everton's making a holy fucking show of it every single season. But, you know, we'll park that up, my little blue friend. Liverpool is blue. Oh, Jesus. You don't even believe that as you're typing it, mate. Even the Everton area isn't blues. Old Devlin says there, who is a scouser. There you go. So yeah, where are we sitting on this? Because if we do move Mane on, I'm fully on board the Jarrod Bowen bus, but other people want Rafinha in. Can understand why. Completely can. But yeah, we do need to sort this situation out because, as I keep saying, every week that goes by, these players' hand strengthens in negotiation. So Firmino, Mane, Salah, Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, Naby Keita, all of their hand strengthens in negotiations because they're close to move away. So let's say you're Sadio Mane right now. So clubs like Barcelona, who don't have a lot of money to spend, but could say to Sadio Mane, in a year's time, come to Barcelona and we'll pay you well. And they could defer some of that until they're in a better financial position. There are definitely going to be options out there for Sadio. So I hope, and I'm sure that the club will, but I hope they treat him respectfully and be honest with him. So if the truth is that the club like to move him on, or the club have other options they want to pursue, I hope that that's an open and honest conversation, because I think Sadio deserves that respect. But also, I do believe that it's time to make some tough decisions around the squad, and it is time to let go of some of these lads that have served us so well, so very, very well. I've always found the Sadio situation one that I feel like he wants to be the man. I feel like he's good enough to be the man somewhere, but he's just been very unfortunate that he has had a teammate in Mohamed Salah who is the man. Let's be honest about it. Right now, he is the man. And on Mohamed Salah, my friends, on Mohamed Salah, I mean, the tensions have been stoked up a little bit, haven't they? Ahead of tonight's AFCON semi-final. So Abubakar, the captain of Cameroon, speaking about Mohamed Salah, said, and he's doing his best Shania Twain impression here, "That don't impress me much." That's basically what he said about Mohamed Salah. He doesn't impress me much. I say it clearly because I'm an honest person and I have my way of seeing things. If he impressed me, I would say so. He doesn't impress me much. He's a good player. He scores a lot, but he doesn't produce a lot of stuff in the game. Motherfucker, you said it yourself. He scores a lot. He produces plenty in the game, mate. I don't know if he's trying to big himself up, if he's trying to get a psychological dig in here ahead of the semi-final. I mean, they shouldn't need much of a boost, Cameroon. They're the home team. They'll have the majority of the stadium behind them. But to say Mohamed Salah doesn't produce a lot of stuff in the game is just poo-poo of the highest order there from Mr. Abubakar. So, who the fuck is he? First and foremost, he's the Cameroon captain. He's the top goal scorer in the AFCON. Mate, that don't impress me much. There you go. I mean, no, this isn't Shania Twain. I know a lot of people in the background, maybe mixed misses, doing the, I don't know, sitting down, watching TV, whatever, just going, is that Shania Twain? It's not. No need to get ahead of yourself, love. But yeah, mind games, ridiculous, isn't it? Imagine being a nobody and saying that he doesn't impress you much. He's one of the best players in the world. It's madness. Mind games. It's poor mind games though, Eamon, isn't it? Like, I will say that he's carrying that Egypt team, Mo. I mean, let's be honest about it. He is carrying them, but I mean, that's yeah, poo-poo of the highest order, said Liz. Yeah, that's it. I mean, have people not learned a lesson in football yet about not winding people up ahead of a big game? Because if you wanted to give Egypt and Mohamed Salah their team talk, he's just done it. He's just done it there. So let's wait and see what happens. I just think that was just a pointless bit of nonsense there for Mr. Abubakar. But look, we move on and we'll see what happens tonight. Big pressure on Cameroon, of course, being the host nation. And Sadio Mane, Senegal, I think whoever makes the final will probably be second favourites to Senegal, because they have a good squad, don't they? And it was great to see Sadio get such a great goal last night. Lovely finish by Sadio to finish the game off. Absolutely quality. Imagine Mo nutmegging him and scoring, said Avaran. Yeah, I mean, look, Abubakar is the highest scorer in the competition so far. I think he's got 6, if my memory's right. But either way, I mean, you're not fit to lace Mo's boots, mate. So don't be giving the man stick when he's, top-notch player. But there you go. Right, some more stuff to go through. Bit of good news around Sunday. So, and this comes from Paul Joyce, should Luis Diaz train tomorrow, he will make his debut in the FA Cup against Cardiff on Sunday. Now, I didn't think we were going to see Luis Diaz this early, but I'm all for it. I'm all for Luis Diaz getting a run out whenever it's possible. So, brilliant news ahead of that game on Sunday against Cardiff. It's a 12 p.m. It's a.m. to me, but 12 p.m. Kick-off for that one, and we will be doing a watch-along of it on the Anfield agenda. Shit, I don't know which channel we're doing a watch-along of it on, in all honesty. I think we said we're doing it on Twitch. I can't remember. I'll get back to you on that one. Honestly, I can't remember which one we're doing it on. I think it's on Twitch. But yeah, look, that's great news if Luis Diaz does train. And while we're talking about players training, some more good news is that Thiago is back in full training, which is great news. So I don't know if he'll be available for the game. And by available, I mean I don't know if they'll risk him for an FA Cup game against Cardiff. But he is back training, which is brilliant. I was expecting Thursday, like you said, Daniel. Yeah, I mean, Leicester on Thursday, to me, seemed... But look, why not? Why not let him get a few minutes, maybe familiarise himself with Anfield ahead of that big game against Leicester on Thursday. So, yeah, news on Harvey Elliott. He's back training fully, as we know. Played 60 minutes behind closed doors. I think he should be there or thereabouts as well. So, great news. Great news. The injury... I was going to say crisis, but it has been a crisis. The injury situation certainly starting to improve now for Jurgen Klopp. Roy Keane off to Sunderland. Yeah, that's second time back around for Roy Keane at Sunderland. Wish him all the best. Let's see how he gets on. Anyone know what channel the Egypt game is on in Ireland? Yes, Sky Sports, Michael. Sky Sports are showing the AFCON, aren't they? What's your Liverpool strongest lineup? It's a very difficult question, Lewis, because I keep saying the same thing, but it's different horses for different courses. So against Leicester, I think that Leicester's a good way to gauge the strongest team. What I would like to see against Leicester is mindful of the lads come back from the AFCON. I don't know if they'd be ready to come straight in. This is a really difficult call to make. So Alisson in goal, Trent at right back, Robbo at left back, Van Dijk. And I still don't know how I feel about Matip, because Matip was a little bit shaky in the last two games. And I don't know if there's an underlying reason for that or if he was just a little bit shaky. And I know I keep saying it, but it worried me because he's been so damn good this season, so good. So I'd probably go with Canada, because of the pace that Leicester have on the counter. So I'd probably go with Canada at the back. Fabinho... Thiago, if he's fit. I don't care if he hasn't played. If he's fit, put him in. And then, who else in midfield will I go alongside them? I have a feeling we'll see Jordan Henderson, if I'm being really honest. Maybe Keita. And then up top, I really don't know. I don't know if Mohamed Salah and Sadio Mane will be in consideration. So maybe you go with Luis Diaz, Jota and Firmino. I wouldn't be upset if that was the starting attack, but I guess it'll all depend on when the lads get back, how they feel, how Jurgen Klopp sees them in training. Curtis Jones, always happy to see Curtis if he plays on the left. I just don't know against Leicester. I expect Curtis Jones to start on Sunday, 100% against Cardiff. I just don't know if we'll see him against Leicester. I think Klopp will... It's a big game again, and I don't need to remind you guys that we can't afford to drop any points at the minute. A Harvey cameo would be lovely at any point, Alvaran. Any point over the next couple of weeks. Keep Sadio Mane and sell Roberto Firmino and Divock Origi. Well, Minamino perhaps is the last one on your list. Origi will leave on a free at the end of the season, mate. And I keep saying this, there is an option to extend, but from what I understand and from what I've read up on, I don't think he will have played enough games for Liverpool to have the opportunity to exercise that 1 year renewal. So I expect Origi to go in the summer for free. Takumi Minamino, genuinely surprised he's still here, if I'm being honest. I thought he would have been moved on in the January window. I'm absolutely certain he'll be moved on in the summer. And who was the other one on your list? Sell Firmino. I just think Firmino is the one that would probably be a bit more understanding of a not bit part role, but a revolving role. I don't think he has the same... I don't want to say same mindset as Sadio, because they're all winners. But I think Sadio, as I said earlier on, he just gives me the feeling that he wants to be the man at a club. And that's absolutely fine when you're as good as Sadio Mane. But when you've got Mohamed Salah ahead of you, everything points towards it being Mane that moves on. I mean, apart from, Charlie said this, I believe, as well, when we were talking about it with the guys met at the transfer room. I've kind of read it and it's been insinuated to me that he's probably going to be the one that moves on. So, I mean, of course, we as fans will have an opinion. Of course we do, a valid opinion, but I just think it's going to be Mane, in all honesty. I love Bobby, but he's finished at the top level. He contributes nothing anymore. That's just not true, mate. To say he's finished at the top level or he's deteriorated a bit, there could be an argument there and there could be a conversation. But to say he contributes nothing, I mean, that's a bit harsh, mate. I mean, actually, it's more than a bit harsh. It's really harsh. I mean, Bobby Firmino, yeah, maybe he's waned a little bit. So is Mane, though. But to say I don't think he contributes nothing, mate. I think that's a little bit harsh. Now, look, I'm also mindful that I'm a Bobby Firmino propagandist of the highest order. Love the man. But, yeah, I don't know. Again, it's not really me that, I'm not making these decisions. All signs seem to point to Mane being the one. Now, that doesn't say that Bobby mightn't go as well. I mean, I hope that doesn't happen. I mean, it'd be a lot of shake-up to the attack. I just get the feeling it's going to be Mane. And look, ultimately time will tell us, won't it? Another bit of a headline here for you folks for Bullshit Island. Again, the folks at Tudor Mercado Web have been digging into their bag of tricks, and they've come up with this. Liverpool are reportedly set to enter talks to sign Paulo Dybala in the summer. According to Tudor Mercado Web, the Reds will enter talks this month to sign the Juventus playmaker on a free transfer at the end of the season. Dybala's current deal with the Serie A giants is set to expire at the end of the season, and the report adds that Dybala would be in favour of a move to Liverpool. Of course he would. Why the fuck wouldn't he? It's Jurgen Klopp, it's Liverpool, and he's sitting there barely playing minutes for Juventus. Of course he'd want to come. But they go on to come back to reality a little bit, and they said it's been claimed that Dybala's wage demands could be a stumbling block for any deal to bring the 28-year-old to Anfield. For me, I think the fact that Juventus don't want him is more of a telling story to me than anything else. So it'd be a hard pass for me on Dybala. 28 years of age, his best days, I believe, are behind him, and I would say no to it. Something that caught my eye today as well, though, and I don't know if you guys seen this, I'm sure you did, because you guys are usually all over the stuff like this. Ruud Gullit speaking out, and he said that Erling Haaland should ignore Manchester United's advances and come to Liverpool. Ruud, I fully agree with you, my man. Erling Haaland should absolutely come to Liverpool. So go get that done, FSG, if you wouldn't mind. If you need me to have a little chat with Mina Raiola, one fat man to another, do you know what I mean? I talk his lingo. So yeah, if you need me, you've seen my work on FIFA stream. So if you need me in there, Julian, Michael, to, deal with Mina Raiola on your behalf around Haaland, happy to do it. City fans getting excited about Haaland. Oh no, said Connor. No. I mean, look, that's probably where the smart money would be. I mean, they've just signed Alvarez, that kid from River Plate. But look, if the God's honest truth is, if we were to go to battle with Manchester City and Manchester United purely financially, we couldn't compete. We couldn't compete for Haaland. Unless I was doing the negotiating, in which case it's nailed on. But I won't be. So unfortunately, yeah. And no, look, realistically, I've never allowed myself to think for a minute that Haaland will end up at Liverpool. But there's so many pros or ex-pros that have said it would be the perfect fit. And it would. Oh God, it would. But it just won't happen. It just won't happen. I can't even bring myself to contemplate it for a minute. Because I know I'm just going to be in for heartache. And I'm just going to be giving heartache to people. I think, for me, the Haaland situation, if he ends up outside the Premier League, I'll be happy. Because I don't want him playing in the Premier League if it's not with Liverpool. Because he's that damn good, isn't he? He's just that damn good. So yeah, look, we'll wait and see what happens there. Apparently he had a meeting with Mina Raiola, who's just out of hospital, I believe, after I don't know if it was an operation or an illness or whatever it was, but obviously, like anybody else in the world, wish him a speedy recovery, as much as I don't like his way of acting in the market. Never want to hear of anybody being unwell. So yeah, look, but I don't know if you guys caught this stream yesterday where I said that Liverpool can afford Jude Bellingham. I'll just let that sit with you for a minute, because remember, when it happens, just remember, the I told you so was going to be fucking mahoosive, but, amortized over 5 years to saying 18 million, and that we could afford the 90 million transfer fee, because that's the number that's doing the rounds at the minute. 90 million pound. And you know what? I'd pay every fucking penny of it if I was Liverpool. Every penny of it. He's destined to be a Liverpool player, I'm telling you. So you know, Tuchemani is another one that we're looking at. I'm still playing catch up. I am starting to read in more and more about Tuchemani, but I just think it's going to be Jude Bellingham. I just do. Now, I don't know. I don't know if there's going to be a second midfield edition because I think that will depend on what happens ultimately with Naby Keita and Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain. But yeah, Jude Bellingham. Is he going to take Naby Keita's number 8 at Liverpool? Because let's be honest, if he comes to Liverpool, nay, when he comes to Liverpool, it should be number 8, shouldn't it, for Jude? It should be. I mean, let's be honest about it. You know, even if Naby's still at the club, it should be number 8. He should be. I know it's smidge disrespectful to Naby, who I love as a footballer, but I mean, nah, come on. You know, it has to be number 8. Renato Sanchez, no, not for me. Although I think somebody said to me he was agreeing a deal elsewhere. Somebody in our chat. Don't blasphemize about my father. Are we talking about Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain there, Chris? Oh, Chris, God bless. Let me ask you guys this, because I'm sure you're sick to death of hearing my opinions about these players, but how do we feel about Oxlade-Chamberlain, Keita? What would you guys do? Now, try and be realistic, because of course they're in the final 17, 16 months of their contract now. What would you do? Would you renew both of them? One of them? None of them? Would you sell them both if you can to try and raise transfer fees to bring in a Jude Bellingham? Because I think we can afford to move them on if we bring through one more midfielder from somewhere, whether that is Carvalho to be used in an attacking midfield role from Fulham, whether that's, I don't know. I have this vision in my head of Bowen eventually coming in but not being used as a wide forward, being used, I don't know why this is in my head, being used a bit more deep. And I think, strangely, the more I've thought this over, I can almost see Jared Bowen or AN Other as another kind of utility man, much like James Milner and Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain. Right, so let's go through. Sell both, said Damien. Nick said get rid of both. Get rid of both, said Jens, who's a United fan. So, I mean, that's not really relevant, Jens. You know what I mean? You tell us to sell Thalet if I asked you, buddy. Naby Keita, press 1 for keep or 2 for sell next season. Well, sell next season, you're going to get a small amount for him because, you know, we'll have 1 year left. Sell and sell both, said Dara McAfee, or McAfee, excuse me, mate. Naby, sell, or keep Naby, sell Ox. Right, so on that, for those that would say keep both, or either of them, would you feel comfortable if you heard the news tomorrow that Naby Keita has just signed at Liverpool a contract that will keep him at the club until 2026? So would you feel comfortable with Liverpool, let's say, ponying up 100 grand a week for 4.5 years for Naby, who most likely is going to be injured a lot? That's what keeps getting me on this. I mean, I'm all for keeping players at the club, but not if it's at the detriment of our transfer fee and our transfer wages that we have to spend, and also maybe the progression of other players, because ultimately he hasn't been able to stay fit. Need more English players. Why would you get what? Who would you get and budget? I don't know about the budget, mate, but we are starting to stock up on English players. So let's say the deal for Fabio Carvalho went through. He's a homegrown player, so he count. Obviously, we have Elliott, we have Jones. I mean, we're building up a nice little pool of homegrown talent. But look, my answer is Bellingham and Bowen, which is another 2 homegrown English players there that you're looking for. So they would be my answers, Khaled. And thank you for the super chat, dude. Renew and then sell both of them, said Tyra. I mean, yeah, look, the cynical part of me would do that with Mane, actually. But I also don't think, I think the players' agents will see through these. You know, if they honestly, and I don't know if Jurgen Klopp would be able to sit down, look Sadio Mane, Naby Keita, Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain in the eye and tell them that they have a future at the club if he knows they don't. I just don't think Klopp would do that. I believe you when you say Jude is coming, but I want to ask, do you think Jude is telling Haaland also to go to Liverpool? No. I mean, look, the thing about Haaland is ultimately down to his agent. I just can't get past the agent thing. Oh, actually, look what arrived today. Oh, my ball. Ah, Jesus Christ. Fucking Slippery. Yes, my ball arrived today. Need to pump the bitch up though, but yes, finally 28 quid from Nike. They finally got a little bit reasonable. Haaland is better than Bellingham. Yes, one is a forward and one is a fucking midfielder though. So I don't know what your point is. Get rid of Oxlade, Chamberlain, Takumi Minamino, Gomez, and Origi. The only one I'd not argue with you there, Michael, on, but debate you with, mate, is Gomez. If Joe asks to leave and we can get a good fee for him, yeah, I'm all for it. But yeah, LFSG will buy Tielemans and Jude Bellingham, or Jude Bellingham, not both. I don't know. The thing about Yuri Tielemans has always just been in my own head. I've never ever been told by a journalist or a friend that they're going to do. I just look at the situation from the outside and think, well, he's not signing on at Leicester, Premier League proven, good player. But ultimately, when I discussed this with Paddy and Chris yesterday, I think there were some valid points raised about, would he really fit our system? Would he really work as hard as we need him to? And I think it's a fair point, because Tielemans is obviously a quality footballer, but are there times he can be a bit lazy? I mean, I should probably chat to a Leicester fan about that more. Remember how many injuries Matip had, and look at him now. Yeah, no, that's a fair point. That's a very fair point. But Matip wouldn't be on the kind of money that I would expect Naby Keita to be renewed for. But it is a fair point. I mean, we're talking about injury-prone players here. Joel has certainly looked a lot more robust this season. Craig, do those balls go in the attic or do you use them? It's the only ball I think I've ever bought. So I don't know is the honest answer. Probably going to I'm probably going to put it in a little case or something, in all honesty. But yeah, pumping it up is job number one. Jen, how are you, my friend? So Craig, love your content, but can I ask what's going on with Mane's contract and what about the Mo deal? I just touched on the Mane thing earlier, and the worrying signs, again, this comes from Fabrizio Romano. 1 second. It's this one, isn't it? 1 second, I'm just trying to grab all the things I've closed down. Yeah, so Jen, Fabrizio Romano was speaking and he said they're working for Mohamed Salah as a priority, but from what I'm told, for Mane, they are not even in conversation yet. He's out of contract in 2023. Fabrizio goes on to say he's not saying that Mane is leaving Liverpool, but they're not talking over a new contract at the moment, so there is serious danger. So that's where we are, Jen, with Mane. After that with Mo, I haven't got a clue. I have not got a clue if there's been a breakthrough. I don't know. And I've always been honest about that until I haven't got a clue what's going on with the Mo Salah contract renewal. All I can tell you, Jen, is like everybody else, I'm waiting and hoping and praying that it gets done. And I'm also fearful, like everybody else, that we get usurped by FSG and maybe he's the one that helps fund a rebuild. I sincerely hope he's not the one that's moved on, but with every day that goes by, his hand, his agents or his representatives' hand in the negotiations strengthen, and the interest again will just intensify from other clubs. So I hope it gets done soon after he's back. No player bigger than the greatest club in the world. That's true. I mean, ultimately, yes, you're right. No player is, but it kind of isn't really about Mo being bigger than the club for me. I feel like it genuinely is about what he's worth. So for me, look, he's worth 350, 400 grand a week. I don't see how anybody can say he isn't. No, I don't think Mo's trying to show he's bigger than the club, but I do think it's fair that he gets parity of payment to other players in the world who, some of them not fit to lace his boots. No way Egypt's beating Cameroon. Even if they don't, though, Mo will, or Egypt will still have the third, fourth place playoff on Sunday at like 4 p.m, I think. Mane was brilliant last night. Yeah, he was. Senegal, very impressive in the second half. But I tell you what, how good were Burkina Faso as well? I really thoroughly enjoyed that game last night between Burkina Faso and Senegal. Thought it was a really absorbing game to watch, and I'm looking forward to the Egypt game as well. So for those that don't know, I'm going to be over at 6:45. I'm going to be over on the Anfield Agenda Twitch YouTube to do a watch along of the Egypt Cameroon game. If I'm being really honest, I don't hold a lot of hope for Egypt to go through. I think the home team. We spoke about Chris. We spoke about Abubakar's comments on Salah, and I mean, I don't know what to say, mate. Other than I don't give a fuck what Abubakar has to say about Salah, and if he needed to give Egypt and Salah their team talk, he just has. AFCON games tend to be low scoring and intense. Last night was brilliant. Even at 0-0, I thoroughly enjoyed it. Like, it was real end to end attack, attritional stuff. It was very absorbing, very good to watch. Craig, Neto or Bowen, said Fahim. Well remembered, Fahim, by the way. I mean, yeah, it's been a while since we spoke about Pedro Neto because, of course, he's had an injury that kept him out for a really long time, and we haven't seen a lot of him really, Wolves, but I really like Pedro Neto. I have to say, I really like him, and him, Bowen, Rafinha, they'd all be great if we had to move someone like Sadio on. But I still can't get past the fact I think that Bowen is more of a Klopp side, and it's just the utility of the guy, the work rate of the guy, the fact he's English. I can just see him as more of a Bowen signing. People saying he's overrated, I think, are very wrong on Jared Bowen. I really do. Every time I watch him, I become more impressed. So for me, I don't think Bowen's overrated at all. He's playing in a West Ham team that's in a really good place right now. Some good footballers at the club. And look, if they go to the summer and Declan Rice maybe has his head turned elsewhere, Bowen probably start looking around going, what's the real ambition here? And ultimately, as good and big a club as West Ham are, and they are a storied club with a great fan base, it's Liverpool. You should want that step up if it comes your way. You should as a footballer. So we'll wait and see what happens. But ultimately, in the summer, if we brought in a midfielder, another attacker, moved on to Takumi Minamino and a few others, then looked at the situation in midfield to consider if we may need a second. Yeah, we'll wait and see. But I am genuinely excited about the summer window for once. But it is important that we remember as fans as well that the business that we did in January, i.e. Luis Diaz, was supposed to be next summer. So we got it. As much as I don't like saying this because I've been the exact opposite way for a long time, we got to temper or, adjust our expectations a little bit because that was supposed to be a summer signing that was brought forward. And the beauty of this signing, by the way, is it just seems to be really winding up Daniel Levy so much. Spurs negotiated a lesser price for us than we would have had to pay. So we were being quoted, I think, at least 10 million higher than Spurs negotiated. And once they'd agreed that fee with Spurs and we turned the player's head, they couldn't say no. They couldn't. If they'd agreed to deal with Spurs, they couldn't really say no to Liverpool. So, yeah, thanks for that one, Spurs. How much would they sell Mane for? Yeah, good question. I mean, let's put it to the chat. What's Sadio Mane with a year in his contract worth? Difficult one to gauge because we've seen some mad fees before, the likes of Hazard going to Real Madrid for €100 million with a year left on his contract. I would think Sadio Mane with a year to go in pounds sterling, 25 million I would expect us to get from, maybe 30. Thank you, by the way, Michael Lynch. Appreciate that. Look, I haven't said it yet on the stream, but if you are enjoying it, please do hit that subscribe button, drop a like on the video as well. And don't forget that today's new show has been brought to you with thanks to our friends at Spitch. The link to download Spitch is in the description below. Got to be 18 years or over, a resident of the UK, and make sure you have your ID ready on sign up, and you can be your chance of winning up to 70 grand each week from the prize pool. What are you saying? It's 9 o'clock. What's 9 o'clock? No idea what you're on about. You're talking about the AFCON game. It's 7 o'clock. I don't know what the it's 9 o'clock thing is. Sorry. Right, what have we got? 30 to 40 million for Bombay Potato. Josh Crouch reckons 40. Joel's lost the plot. He thinks 80 million. Keaton Clark, 25 to 30 million. There's no way we get 40 to 50 million pound for Sadio Mane with 1 year to go in his contract. I mean, if we do, brilliant. I'm not going to complain about it, but can't see it happening. No lower than 35 for me. 50 to 60 million for Damien. Fahim said 50 million. Dara McAfee, or McAfee, how the fuck do I not get your name right, Dara? Sorry. 50 million, 50, 60. Wow. I mean, I think we're going to have a lot of disappointed fans if we're realistically expecting 50 or 60 million. Yeah, I think 30 at the most. Unless, as somebody says, there may be PSG get their wallet out and try and flex a bit if Mbappe moves on. I mean, can we all see him in a PSG shirt, Mane? Because I can, if I'm being honest. 9 o'clock for Egypt versus Cameroon. 7 o'clock. Where's the 9 o'clock thing coming from? It's definitely a 7 o'clock kickoff. Not selling Mane. Okay. Let's wait and see what happens. Mr. Fake Dennis O'Brien. Well, maybe you're a different Dennis O'Brien, I should say, not the Dennis O'Brien. 30 million for Mane. Yes, Neil. He's got to got 1 year left at this point. Now, if he was to be renewed, and even moved on in a year's time, I would expect 40 upwards. But right now, yeah. PSG do seem like the most likely, don't they? And look, they will be in need probably with Mbappe most likely to move on. Although, is there still a twist to go in this Kylian Mbappe thing? Because the news came out today and yesterday, sorry, that it looks like Mauricio Pochettino is most likely going to leave there in the summer. Zinedine Zidane touted as the man to come into PSG. Would that be enough to convince Mbappe to stay? I mean, is this lad still going to bang on about his 9 o'clock? It's on at 7 o'clock, mate. If you want to wait till 9 o'clock to watch it, you do that. Should we have cashed in last summer for Mane, said Neil. No, because we wouldn't have a replacement. But look, it is an iffy situation, getting to a point where we only have 17 months left. So I don't like that the club have 5 players in this position, and 4 of them, yeah, let's say 4 of them, very prominent players. It could be 9 where he lives. Could be. You're still fucking wrong, because for me it's 7, and my audience is mainly based in UK and Ireland, so 7. What else we got? Craig, do you think we are close to the signing Mo? I don't think. No, I don't. I can't imagine there was much conversations going on with Salah or his representative while the AFCON was on. I just think out of respect, I don't think there would have been. So I keep saying the same thing. I honestly don't know. In your country, it's 8:14. Okie doke. That makes perfect sense then, my friend. If it's 8:14 where you're living right now, then yes, definitely 9 o'clock. But for us, mate, where we are right now, UK and Ireland, it's a 7 o'clock kickoff. Chris, don't try to put me in your bread microwaving hierarchy of weirdos. Oh God. What would we get for Mo? Sean, I haven't ever given that a minute's thought, mate, because I don't want Mo to go, and I don't care what he's worth, in all honesty. Because I want him to be here until his career's over, or at least until he's 34. So, yeah. Don't yeah, I don't know. I don't know what Mo's worth, and I don't ever want to find out either, in all honesty. I know what he's worth to us. He's irreplaceable to us. Mane still has 8 goals this season, which puts him joint 4th, one behind Vardy. I get where you're coming from. I do, but I don't really think that that's the only metric that we can use to measure him by. Ultimately, I can't argue against you, because I love Mane. And Mane, I'm not sitting here saying Sadio Mane still can't play at the top level. He absolutely 100% can and will if he moves elsewhere. If he goes to PSG, he'll tear it up. He'll do well. My thing is, I know that Liverpool in the summer are going to be looking to do some serious business in the market. And I just can't square off how we do that without sacrificing some players whose contract situations, if we were to renew them, would eat into a huge chunk of the budget. So I just think there's going to be some difficult conversations to be had, and some difficult decisions for Klopp and the board to make. If it was me, I'd renew Mane, I'd renew Firmino. I'd wait at least a year then, see how the lads get on. If you've renewed them, I don't see the need to bring in another attacking player right now. Luis Diaz for me is enough. Keep Luis Diaz, obviously. Keep Mane, keep Salah, keep Firmino, keep Jota. Sell Takumi Minamino. Let Origi's contract run down. Obviously, have Cade Gordon coming through as well. That's it. I'm happy with that. I mean, if you did that, renew the lads' contracts, those 5 players, we're not going to better that. So yeah, I'm all for that. But when the conversation comes around then about succession planning and, you know, Keita, Oxlade-Chamberlain and their contracts, we have to be ruthless somewhere. And for me, I would happily be more ruthless by not renewing Keita and Oxlade-Chamberlain, moving them on, and then going and bringing in your Jude Bellingham. So yeah, it's difficult, and let's see what happens. But I just get this feeling, and I've always had the feeling it's going to be Mane. And again, the story about or the story linking up with PSG, that just seems to have a bit of truth to it in my head. Craig, how much do you reckon we'll get for most of the dead woods? Don't like to use the phrase dead woods personally. Oxlade-Chamberlain right now, 1 year to go, 28. $15 to $18, perhaps. Minamino, I think the club should stick their ground on the 15 to 20 million. In all honesty, I think the Takumi Minamino is worth 15 to 20 million to somebody. There's a player there, I just don't think he's robust enough for us. But there's a player in there, I think, for a different league, maybe. Keita, oh God, see, I haven't got a clue. I mean, how the hell do you move Naby Keita on? Like, who do you convince to buy him? Because if you look at another Premier League club, which is most likely where we get most money, they know his injury record as much as we do. So if we went back to Germany, I mean, there is something to be said for him going to Dortmund, by the way. Let me run this up the flagpole. Let's say we're trying to negotiate for Jude Bellingham, and we slipped in a little bit of Naby into the conversation there as not a sweetener, but a genuine opportunity for Dortmund to show their fan base as well that they could bring in another really good player. So I don't know if that would make it any easier, but it would certainly make my life a bit easier, bringing in Jude Bellingham and moving Keita on. And you know, they do have that in them, Dortmund, to sometimes bring in a Marquis-esque type player. German or Spanish team would take him for 30, I reckon. For Taki, I mean, if we could get it, great. I'm not arguing with you, mate. Somebody like Dortmund would love Keita, said James. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how that's not clicked into my head before, or maybe it has and I've just forgotten I've said it, but the more I think about that, I mean, it'd be a good move for Naby as well, wouldn't it? I mean, going and playing in front of the yellow wall, Champions League football every year with Dortmund, fans who will idolise them, some good players around them. I mean, the more I think about it, you're welcome. I boxed it off for you, Julian. Again, you know what I mean? We should try sell Thiago. He's not going to be sold. He's not. And look, I'm a Thiago apologist, and I will be forever. As I keep saying, if you can wheel him out for me for the latter part of the season and the big Champions League games, that's enough. I know I'm an asshole. I am, but it's Thiago. When he's on the pitch, when he's doing his things, it's Thiago. He's so special. He's the rhythm of a game. He's just Thiago. So yeah, I am an apologist for him, and I will continue to be so because he's Thiago. So that's 35 million you said for Taki and Ox. What about Adrian and Karius? Both out of contract, both going to leave for free. So nothing for either of those two with regards to a transfer fee. I'm genuinely surprised the club haven't just cancelled Karius' contract in January and allowed him to look for another club, because he's not going to be a Liverpool player past the summer. And And even when we had a really, really sticky goalkeeper situation at one point, he still wasn't going to be used. So, yeah, and you've got young Pitaluga as well coming through. So, Mane and 25 million for Saka. He's too good for Arsenal. I don't want Mane getting all Arsenal all over him. No, we can't do that to him. He's too good to be to listen to this shite from their fans. No, can't do that to Sadio. He deserves better. What else we got? Thiago, nothing compared to Silva, Craig, let's be honest. Which Silva we talked about? Bernardo? Mate, Thiago Alcantara. I don't even know how to argue this point with you, because if we're talking about Bernardo Silva, I'm not going to argue he's a good player. Of course he is. If we're talking about David Silva, again, absolute quality. But Thiago is... I don't know, there's not many players in the world that just can dictate the rhythm of a game of football, and Thiago is one of them. David Silva, look, Joshua, I idolise David Silva, as a human being, as a footballer, and I've been honest about it. He's one of the 3 players I would have absolutely loved to have played football at Liverpool at one point. Yeah, so I don't disagree. He's brilliant, David Silva. Was brilliant, I should say. Still is brilliant. He's playing with Sociedad. Arsenal fans would boo him after one bad game. They'd start trying to convince themselves that, Sadio Mane isn't as good as fucking, I don't know, Saka or some other player that they've overhyped. What else we got? Would not touch anyone from Arsenal. Gabriel Martinelli. I would bring him into Liverpool if we had the chance. There's something about that kid that, again, he just has that fighter quality for me. That I don't know how to describe it, but I'm a sucker for a fighter, an underdog, somebody like Dirk Howe as an example. Luis Suarez. I just love those warriors that don't give a shit and fight and fight and fight and fight and fight. I mean, yeah, I get that vibe off Martinelli. Odegaard or Martinelli, the only ones. Odegaard, that ship has sailed. I mean, he moved on from Real Madrid to Arsenal. We missed out on him when he went to Real Madrid at the age of 16. But yeah, Odegaard's a talent. But again, I think we've missed that. That ship has sailed. Crick said Saka I would take all day. Kid is immense, can play anywhere. Love Saka. I can't see that being a decision that the Arsenal fans would let happen. If they sold Saka after bringing through some great young players and building a younger team there with Arteta, I just think it would be just the wrong sign for the club to be shown. Thomas Partey, no, I didn't want him when he was at Atleti, and I wouldn't want him now. He's completely overhyped for me, Thomas Partey. Again, I would say that there's a reason Atleti let him go, and there was always a reason. And for me, Thomas Partey's meh for me. Florian Wirtz is better than all the midfielders we've been linked with. I mean, yes, Florian Wirtz is a good player. Stepped up to the Kai Havertz role at Leverkusen. Certainly a talent, no doubt about it. But to say he's better than all the midfielders we've been linked with, is he better than Jude Bellingham? Not for me. Then again, nobody's going to be better than Bellingham for me, because he's the one that we need. He's the one that we should be getting. Right, look, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to call that it for now. I will see you guys hopefully in about 15 minutes over the Anfield Agenda Twitch channel for a watch along of the Egypt game. Hope you guys come across and join me for that one. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, drop a like on the video before you head off. And again, thank you to Spitch for sponsoring the show. Fantasy Football Manager game that you can win your chance of up to 70 grand each week in the prize pool. Don't forget, you must be 18 years or over to play. Resident of the UK, and it's always much more helpful for the guys if you have your ID ready at sign up. Right, ladies and gentlemen, I will see you guys hopefully later on. If not, we will be back to normal tomorrow. We'll be back with an 8:45 show tomorrow as well. I'll be joined by Chris and Paddy. Yeah, thank you for your time. Have a lovely evening. Lots of love to all of you.